Thank you. Hello, Miss Amy. Good to see you. We are going to pass out cards just because I know it's sometimes sensitive and sometimes awkward to walk up to a counselor in front of your peers and your friends and ask for a counseling card. So if you need one, please take one. And I'm asking you to also take one and shove it in your desk. And when that person comes to the door that you think, oh, Lordy, this person needs some help, you've got it ready to give out. And we all know those people, right? No, not in Roy City, never. So yes, my name is Erin Kincaid. I started the Higher Hopes Counseling Center. I'm located in Caddo, right in an old church that is being renovated into a Christian wellness center and community center, and I'm in there with my offices. I am impassioned about providing mental health care at low cost, no cost. I worked in a domestic violence shelter, New Beginnings Center, Hope Store for over 6 years. I've seen the worst of the worst. I served as a missionary for 7 years in former East Germany, and that comes with a whole slew of problems. So my belief is that if I can sell Jesus to a bunch of people in a former communist country in a language I don't speak, I can help people here in my own community to figure out their lives and get healthy. So I am passionate about that, and I thank you so much for your time. And I also am 42, which means I can't remember anything anymore. So I'm actually going to use my book to remember my notes. I hope you all don't mind. Does anybody have that issue here? If you don't write it down, it didn't happen. So that's where I'm at. So we're going to talk about joy today. What does it mean to be joyful? We live in a world where joy, we think, comes extrinsically. I'm going to get a little counseling on you. So that means that we think that, when you're a child, you've ever had a child that says, Mama, look, Mama, watch, Mommy, this, Mommy, and finally you're like, all right, fine, I've seen it. There has to be a switch in every human being's mind where they go from needing that person to validate and say, yes, that was good, yes, you did right, to intrinsic, I did good, I did this because I enjoyed it, I believe that I am valuable. What happens with joy, especially in this season, is we look at everything extrinsically. We look for our joy on the outside. All the Christmas carols, chestnuts roasting on an open fire. They wanted me to sing today, chestnuts roasting on an open fire. We look at everything on the outside expecting for it to make us happy, expecting for it to bring us joy. We expect people to bring us joy. We expect our spouses, our kids, our job, our money, our income, our health, all to bring us joy. Well, what do all of those things inevitably do at some point? They all let us down, don't they? I mean, I love my husband, but holy moly, he has let me down. And sometimes he has not brought me joy. My 14-year-old child, I always thought, how could I ever live away from you? How could you go to college? I'll be in an RV outside of your dorm the entire time. And then he turned 14, and now I'm literally have a paper chain in our schoolroom, because we homeschool, a paper chain in our schoolroom counting the days until he's out of the house. I mean, so people inevitably let you down. Your job, though you're all, nobody wants to raise their eyebrows on this one, but your job is going to let you down. Your boss is going to let you down. When we seek our joy extrinsically, we will never, ever have total joy, because things on the outside of this world will let us down. We have to have joy on the inside. We have to carry it inside of us as a treasure. And we have to exude it not only to those around us, but we have to marinate in it. We have to sit in it, and we have to know that no matter what falls apart in my life, I am a child of the King, and I'm joyful. So I am a biblically based, faith-based counselor. If anyone that offends anyone, I'm not proselytizing in any way. So if you are not a person of faith, just know that the message is still the same. You can find it from your own truth. But I just want to let you know I can only speak what I know, and I hope I don't offend anyone. So I wanted to just bring you some things that I found in the Old Testament that I thought would be really cool for us to talk about joy. In Deuteronomy, we're told to celebrate well with all of those that you know in the town and at your table. After you work your hands completely, celebrate long, and your joy will be complete. How many of us rush into the holidays, rush to make the meal, rush to clean it up, and then we're back to work the next day, or we're constantly thinking, I get to get in my emails. That's not celebrating long. That's not taking time. In German, we say genießt die Zeit. It means to eat the time, to just marinate in the time. And so often, we don't let our joy times be as equal to our work times. We put all of our efforts in worrying about what's falling apart or what's not working or how we have to hustle. And then we get these moments of joy and we zoom through them and we wonder, what happened to the holidays? Why can't it be Christmas all year long? Well, it can. Slow it down. The Bible tells us Celebrate well and long. Sit at that table. Don't clean the dishes right away. They're going to get done. You're not going to live all year long with dirty dishes from Christmas. Spend a little extra time. At my home, we have a box, and I got it from Pure Ones, this great crystal box with all these questions. And anytime I feel the table get antsy and they want to rush off to their Game Boys or whatever they play these days they want to go to, I say, nope, question time. We're going to sit and genießt die Zeit. We're going to sit here and marinate in conversation and in the joy. And you can do that on your own. You can have everybody bring a question to the table. You don't have to go buy a box of questions. You can simply say, I want to know what's going on. What makes you joyful? What do you want to do in 2018? What was your best moment in 2017? What was your worst moment? How can we overcome that? Just genießt die Zeit, okay? And you probably won't remember how to say that, so just do blah, 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 blah. Because German sounds like that anyway. So here's a little psychological thing, and it comes also straight from the Bible, but it's a therapeutic principle. When someone feels the seasonal blues, mild depression, all the way up to manic depression, the best thing that you can do is to, if you want to feel better, do better. When we get depressed, when we get sad, we start to circle the drain. It's a spiral, right? We start thinking about how I hurt. They wronged me. I'm sad. I. And it's very easy. When you're in pain, emotionally or physically, you think about yourself. You're trying to pick yourself up by your bootstraps and get out of your situation. I see it every day on my couch. But when we're constantly focused on ourselves, we don't get this natural cocktail that happens in our brain. It's a serotonin dopamine dump. God designed us that when we do for others who have less than us, we get a cocktail, a holiday cocktail in your brain, dumps into us that actually makes us feel better. That's why when you go and, you remember the toy drives or the shoe drives that we do at the holidays? That's when you go and you serve at like Helping Hands or any of the local things, you serve in a church, you feel better. Why you plan to give gifts to people, why you shop and you can imagine what your little boy's going to look like when he opens that gift and you can't wait for mom to get that one thing you picked out here from one of our vendors. You imagine what it's going to be like when you give that gift because your brain wants that cocktail dump in its fibers. It wants the serotonin dopamine dump. If you want to feel better, do better. It is the quickest way to start to lift your own spirits. And of course, coupled with diet and sometimes medicinal purposes for people that have deeper depression, but with diet and exercise and things like that. But you can flip the switch. You can make yourself find that joy simply by giving to others. I worked in a domestic violence shelter, I told you, for years, and it's very, very, very hard to think that your life sucks when you're going in every day and seeing these women who have it worse than you. And anytime I didn't want to be there, it's a tough job. I did not love it. I did not make a lot of money. It is a labor of love. I would go in there, and it would be that one person that would just break my heart. I had a woman who came into my office. The office was so small. My office was also with all the pantry food, so people would have to come through my little tiny space to get to the closet where the pantry was. And I had a woman come in. It was in the holidays, and she was a Hispanic woman. She had two little boys and a little girl with her, and the little girl was in a tattered pink corduroy jacket, and I don't remember what the little boys were wearing, but they were translating for her because she didn't speak English, and she wouldn't look at me. And it's such an awkward thing to have someone standing at your office door getting food. It's, what do you say? I don't know what to do. So I had some go-to statements just to help them feel comfortable, and I would say, this too shall pass. It won't be like this forever, and I could tell that it was not connecting with her. Her little boy was trying to translate this too shall pass into Spanish, so great job, Aaron. But he's trying to tell his mom it's going to be okay and trying to be eloquent and Shakespearean in Spanish. And she wouldn't look at me. She wouldn't look in my eyes at all. She would not lift her head up. And her little girl looked at me, and she's just gorgeous. And I said, oh, my gosh, I was really, wow, she is beautiful. And the mom looked at me and smiled. And she had, I'm going to cry, she had no teeth in her gums. They had been knocked out. They had been knocked out of her head. Fresh gums. And I'm sitting there, and I was so shocked and so taken back. But she smiled. She found joy in that moment, in that little moment. And she went on about her business. She went and lived in the shelter. 3 months, and she had a ponytail, and I remember that about her. And they went on about their business. They went and lived in the shelter. And I'm 3 months to that day, I was walking down the hall to go back to my office, and I see this little Hispanic woman. I did not recognize her at the time. And she was literally bounding down the hallway, like skipping towards me. And it was kind of odd to see a grown adult skipping down our hallway. We don't see that very often in a shelter. She's skipping, and I said, hello, and she said, hola, and she smiled. And I knew it was her because she still didn't have any of her teeth replaced. And right there in that moment, I thought, this is what we do. This is how I get my joy, because I get to serve people who have so much less than I do. So remember that. That is how you get your joy back if you're not feeling it. If you've got seasonal blues, maybe you've lost someone. The holidays are a horrible time for people who have lost someone, people who are about to lose someone. Maybe your sister, maybe your marriage is falling apart. Maybe you don't have the money that you thought you'd have to take care of all the people you want to. I don't know what the problems in your life may be, but if you want to feel better, all you have to do is do better. And God will provide for all those things you need. On to my notes, because of my old brain. So we all know this one. The joy of the Lord is my strength, right? Now, I don't know about you, but I have people in my life that annoy me. And I am already mentally preparing to spend Christmas with certain choice people in my life. And I'm thinking, the joy of the Lord is my strength. The joy of the Lord is my strength. I will not kill them. I will not use the butter knife against that person in a very foul way. When I can't forgive on my own, when I can't open my heart, I'm not expected to. That's the other thing, too, is we kind of rob God of his strength for us. We say, the joy of the Lord is my strength. We say that in church. We write that on our walls. We've got that in a little cool frame somewhere. We put it on an ornament. But then when we actually have to remember that in dealing with difficult people, especially at the holidays, we forget that he gave that to us. And we go, I've got to figure this out. I've got to be the strong one. I've got to forgive. But there's no connection. There's a disconnection between the strength that he gives us and our ability to actually suffer long and be long-suffering with people. The reason I've chosen Christian counseling is because I truly believe in the healing power of faith, and I believe in the healing power of God in someone's life. And to be long-suffering doesn't mean it's only my way and I'm going to ditch you and I'm going to just heal myself. It means to suffer with those that sometimes are hard to love, right? And we love them in ways that are sometimes very painful for us. But remembering that the joy of the Lord is my strength. I have a slew of people. My brother is schizophrenic bipolar, okay? He is very difficult to deal with. He is very, very taxing as a human being to deal with. He lives with my parents. We just moved them from California to Greenville, so they're all together. My parents are in their 70s, so it's a lot of work. And Christmas is going to be laborious with him. It's going to be tough. But the joy of the Lord is my strength. The joy comes from something else. I don't have to rely on me. I don't even have to work at it. I can just rest in knowing that I will be given the strength that I need to get through what I need to get through and be a loving, kind, generous, giving person during the season. And that way I can hold my head up high and know that I don't have to be right. I don't have to be in control. I don't have to be better than anyone else. I can be humbling and just giving and know that my joy comes from elsewhere. Does that make sense? When we don't forgive each other, okay, this is what I get to deal with on my couch all the time. When you don't forgive each other, and you don't work in joy, and you don't release the reins and the control of your hands, we're always trying to clutch and fix people. You pile up anger and resentment, arrogance, pride, and bitterness. And those come out in people when they come to my couch. They have back pain, neck pain, ulcers, can't sleep. They've been angry for years, clenched jaws. They've been trying to fix everybody for so long. They just can't think straight. And I get to work with them on the backside of that and help them to see that it's all about forgiveness. All about forgiveness. And what is forgiveness? It's not punishing the person for the crimes they've committed against us, even before they ask for us to forgive them. Even before they show any sign of contrition, we choose to say, I will not harbor bitterness. I will not keep this ugliness in my heart. I will not clench my fists or my jaw against you and have gnashing of teeth against you as a person. I will forgive, and I will move on, and I will carry on. Because if we don't, then we rob ourselves of our own joy. Do you know how many times I see people that are so close to being godly and happy and joyful, but they just can't get over that hump of forgiveness. And I know bad things have happened to people. Trust me. I've seen and heard some things that will blow your mind. And I get it. But I've also been through some things that will blow your mind. And I know you can forgive. I know you can forgive. And you don't want to rob yourself of your own joy. The other thing is, since we're all women, I'm going to assume that most of us are mothers or aunties or maybe have some young people in our lives, seeing as how we're educators or close. These children are watching us, and we are teaching them how to be joyful or how to be angry with every decision we make. Everything we do all day long. And you have even more power because you get to see other people's kids. You know, other people trust you with their children 40 hours a week. You become like little surrogate mothers for 40 hours a week. And these children are watching us. And if we want to change society and we want a more joyful, happy, peaceful, contented society, then it is our job. It is our job to plant those seeds of joy. And so often we don't. We're short, we're curt, we're stressed, we have to shop, we have things to do, my boss has ticked me off, my husband's being a jerk, I can't get this done, this check bounced. Our lives well up and we lose our joy, and we forget that these children are watching. If you see an angry child in your life, or you've got one of your own, you should go get a mirror, because it usually comes from, you know, that mirror on the wall, who's the ugliest of them all. It's usually a mirror moment. And if you see an angry child in your school, you should call up the parents and see what's going on, because it's usually coming from home somewhere. Those seeds are planted. I'm not blaming parents, especially when you have teens. Then it's definitely not your fault. You can blame that all on God for his lovely structure of the teenage brain. But it's all seed planting. And if we want to continue joy and bring joy, and your theme for the next year is joy. So if we want to plant seeds of joy, we have to be agents of joy, right? At all times. In our trials often come the richest joys. So most of us can look back on the hardest times of our life, especially those of us who walk in faith. And we can look back on our lives and we can say, it was at the time where I lost someone, I didn't get what I wanted, I prayed for something for years and it didn't come around, that we can see that that's when we grew, that's when we were planted and rooted, and that's when we became new creatures, and we actually found deeper joy. I cannot tell you how many times I have begged God for something and he hasn't given it to me. And when I look back, we do a joy journal in our house, or a thankful book. It just depends what we want to call it on that day. And it's about this size. It sits on our entryway door. It's got bling on it because I like bling, which my boys love so much. And you're not allowed to write prayer requests in there. Those are in your personal journal. That's in your personal time with God. You're only allowed to write in there your gratitudes and things that you've seen God do. We have neighbor kids. I have neighbors that'll come in and start thumbing through it and say, wow, that's cool. Or they'll write things in it, things that they've seen God do. And it's just a reminder of all the things that we've been blessed with, all the things we have to be joyful for. And it helps root us and remind us of the things that are going on when we can't see through the muck and the mire of a tough day or a tough season. It's really important that those of you who read the Bible, you remember all those times that people like Jacob or the rest of them would go in and build altars? They didn't just like building altars for fun. That's symbolic. In your life, you need to remind yourself of the things that have been done that are good for you. Build yourself an altar of the blessings that you have. Paint it on a wall. Put it on Post-its. I work with a corporate client that hires me once a week. I go up and work with all of their millennials who need lots of therapy. No offense if you're a millennial in the room, but this group needed it. They were having a hard time seeing the positives in their job, and they started simply putting Post-its on a wall of all the blessings and the things that they're seeing in their daily basis. Things between their staff members, things that they're seeing personally in their lives, or things that they're accomplishing at work. They're writing it on a Post-it and just sticking it on the wall. They're building an altar and reminding themselves of the blessings and the good things that have come. And it's important that we do that, because it's through those trials that we see the blessings. It's so easy to forget to hit our knees when everything's working out. It's so easy to forget who the Lord is in our lives, or what the goodness is in our lives when things are going well, because things are going well. But it's when things aren't going well that we can rest in the Lord, we can pull ourselves up by our bootstraps, we can rest in his joy, and then we can remind ourselves. Make sure we need to remind ourselves of the very last thing is the altar part, is we need to create memories for other people to cling to. Sometimes I am the joy and the happiness for other people. They come and they sit on my couch and they do not have any strength on their own. They've been through so much, they hurt so bad, they just cannot carry themselves any longer. And it's my job for a short time until they can start piecing things back together to be their joy, to be their hope, and start to carry for them. That's that scripture about being the burden, carrying the burden. Two of you are gathered when the three corded strands together. Sometimes you have to be the joy, and you're the one who has to carry the baggage for other people around you. And sometimes you don't feel like it. There are days when I've had a rough time in my home life, or I'm fighting with my 14-year-old, and then I counsel later in the day because we school in the morning. So I'm often with him trying to teach him algebra. And if anyone ever finds X, please let me know where it's at because I'm so over it. But I'm exhausted. I'm tired. I've had a rough day, and then I have to drive and be the joy for other people. So I rest in the strength of the Lord, and then I go and I give everything I have, every drop of energy I have to carry someone else's burdens. And I'm telling you, I am always, it's that dopamine, serotonin dump that the Lord provides for us, that cocktail. I leave at 8 o'clock at night sometimes, and I've been there for 5 or 6 hours, meeting person after person after person with no break, and I am on fire. I am so excited. I'm just a chatty little Kathy, and I'm always a chatty Kathy, but I'm even more so on the way home. Because I see what I can do for other people, what God can do through my hands, and when I can carry other people when they can't carry themselves. So as you go into 2018, and you've chosen this word joy, or your higher-ups have chosen the word joy to be your focus for your entire district, seek ways to be joy. Look and ways to rest in the Lord. Look for ways to be joyful within yourself, even when you can't. Look for ways to lift the chin up of someone else. Remember that you're seed planting for children, and that's a big deal. Royce City is an amazing town. I am honored, very, very honored to be a part of it in the leadership role that I get to have, and I know that we can be a beacon of light to the towns around us, reminding ourselves of what is true and what is right, and one of those ways is to be a seed planter to all these other families and these children, and build an altar of the things that the Lord has done. Look and see what the Lord has done, right? Build an altar and remind yourselves. And you can do it in your office. You can do it at your home. You can do it in your churches. You can do it in your car. You can remind yourself of all that you've been blessed with. And I promise you, when you do that and you give to others, you do better, you'll feel better, and the joy will be something that when you get to 2019, you'll look back and say, wow, what a year. What a year. So thank you so much for your time. Enjoy your meal. There's lots of fun shopping out there at the Advocare. Where are you, Sheila? At the Advocare table out there, she has a sign that says, choose joy. And I'm going to close with that. Choose is a verb. Do we have any English majors in here? Choose is an action word, right? Choose joy. It doesn't say wait around for it to show up and whine and moan until it gets better. Choose joy. It's action. It's a verb. It requires your activity in this whole process. And all you have to do is choose it, open your eyes for it, seek it, and it will be yours. Thank you so much. God bless you all.
Thank you.